Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome to the Cozy Corner Planting. I'm an amateur gardener in West Virginia Zone 6B, and I started gardening in 2019 when we moved into our house, doing perennial flowers and shrubs, landscaping projects around the house. And last year I grew my very first vegetable garden, and I loved it so much that this year I decided I wanted to try to double the amount of food that I'm growing in my backyard. And I personally enjoy watching other people's YouTube channels and them sharing their experience. And so I figured January 2025, starting this channel to hopefully help other people along their garden journey, and to also journal my successes and my failures, and to journal my garden experience. So in this video, I want to share with you guys what I'm growing, what varieties I'm growing in 2025, and what my garden plans are for this year. And with me, I have my seed case. I got this from Amazon, and inside I have all of my seed boxes, and these are labeled with the time period at which the seeds will be started indoors. And this technique I picked up from the Garden Family here on YouTube. They're also in 6B in Ohio, and I kind of mimicked what they start and when. I tweaked a couple of things, but for the most part, I think we're close enough that most things will work for me. So in January, not much is getting started. I already have my seeds started and they're germinating and they're doing well. But we are doing onions, and we're doing cabbage and Brussels sprouts. So I have the Danish ball head cabbage, and this is new to me, experimenting. We don't eat a lot of cabbage, so I won't be growing a lot of this. Onions, I did grow last year from onion sets from the store. They didn't do well. I got really small onions, but I'm really excited to start from seed because I hear that starting your onions from seed give you a lot larger onions. So here we have ruby red, Walla Walla, and Utah yellow. And I have these started and they're coming in beautifully. And we're also going to do some Brussels sprouts, which we eat a lot of Brussels sprouts. So I'm very excited about that one. And then we're not starting anything else until about mid-February, and that'll be the rest of the brassicas. I didn't have good luck with the brassicas last year, but it was my own fault. First year gardener, and I didn't start the brassicas early enough. So they were started too late, and by the time they were planted out, it was already getting too warm, so they did not grow well for that reason alone. And I'm doing the early snowball cauliflower. I have two varieties of kale, blue curled and the red Russian. And I am going to do the Calabrese broccoli. I got a lot of seeds from MI Gardener when they were having their fall sale, but I also have a lot from So Right, from Amazon, and Baker's Creek, and a couple of grocery store seed packets. In late February, I'm doing lettuce, and I did really well with lettuce last year, and I'm really excited. It was quite nice having fresh lettuce to be able to just go out and pick the cut and come again method and have with our dinners. We don't eat a lot of lettuce otherwise, but we ate a lot of lettuce when we had it fresh at home. So I'm going to try the giant Caesar this year. And I really enjoyed romaine. I preferred the way that it grew, the fresh and crisp lettuce. So I'm going to do Paris Island and red romaine. And my favorite last year was butter crunch. And I didn't start my butter crunch from seed last year. I got it from the store. So I'm really excited to have seed packets for that this year. And that's all the lettuce that I'm going to be doing. I tried last year the iceberg. I tried a couple of different kinds, but I found that they were soggy, they weren't crisp, and they didn't grow nice heads, and that's what I like. I like to be able to do the cut and come again. So in early March, that's when we're starting all of our peppers. And I did really good with peppers last year, and I found that I didn't have enough. And this year I'm kind of going a little bit crazy with the peppers. I'm doing a lot more varieties, and I want to do a lot more volume, because there's a lot of things I want to be able to do with my peppers this year. And my kids really enjoy eating peppers fresh, sweet peppers. I want to be able to make them with meals, and I want to be able to stuff them and put in salsas. And project for this year, I want to be able to start making my own hot sauce if I can get enough cayennes. So I'm really excited about that. In this envelope, I have a pack of the California Wonder Bell peppers, which I grew last year. Got a lot of green peppers from that plant. Those did really well. And this year I'm going to try the lilac bell peppers. I want to do some jalapenos for my salsas, and maybe to do some jalapeno poppers. I got some Anaheim chili peppers, and I think I accidentally grew Anaheim chilies last year. I tried to grow sweet banana peppers, but they weren't banana peppers. I think they were Anaheims. I believe this pepper is tercero, but a sweet pepper. Cubanelles, we really enjoy cubanelles from the grocery store. So I'm excited about that, and I'm really excited about this. I'm probably the only one in my family that can stand some heat, but I've heard this pepper raved about on YouTube so much that I can't wait to try it. It's the Sugar Rush Peach, and I figured to add this to salsas or something like that to add a little bit of heat would be great. And shishitos, of course, we did shishitos last year for fresh eating and frying up, and they're really good. And I decided to do Hungarian wax peppers instead of banana peppers this year. Well, my banana peppers weren't banana peppers, but I just decided to get these instead. I also have the Cayenne Long Slim, which is what I plan to make my hot sauce with. We like a good cayenne hot sauce, like a Tabasco. So that's what I plan on making. And then we have the Sunbell. So a good mixture of mild and sweet peppers. I started my garden so that for my kids, essentially. I wanted them to be able to get involved, and I wanted them to be interested and eat what we grow. So a lot of sweet peppers for my kids, and they love to go out and just pick whatever they can off of the plants. Last year, they were picking leaves off and eating them. That's how much they enjoyed it. So we grow most of what we do for them. Mid-March, I am starting Black Beauty eggplant. And also in mid-March, we will be direct sowing some sugar snap peas. And I also have a lot of like radishes and beets in here. We don't eat a lot of radishes or beets, but I wanted to try them. So I have French breakfast, purple plum radish, and lady slipper radish, and a couple different varieties of beets as well. I figured those are something small that I can pop in and around things. And it's just fun to experiment. late March, we will be starting the tomatoes, and this is much later than what I started my tomatoes last year. It's embarrassing how early I started my tomatoes last year, but I was very excited, and I babied those things all the way until they were ready to be planted out in early to mid-May, and they got way too large for indoor plants, and they took a lot of work, and I'll tell you, they were still healthy when they got planted out, but we are going to start them much later this year so that they are more manageable with everything else that we are starting. So I have a dwarf variety tomato here. It's a dwarf indeterminate, so I am going to put this in a smaller pot, and hopefully that does well. I put my tomatoes in 20-gallon grow pots, and everything else I put in about 7 to 10-gallon grow pots. I have Brandywine Red, and I have San Marzano. I did a Roma tomato last year, just a regular variety of Roma, and I got a lot of them, but they were very small. So I wanted to do the San Marzanos to hopefully get a lot, but hopefully a little bit bigger tomatoes so that I can process them in for ketchup or salsa and things like that. So what I plan on freezing these as I harvest them, because I'm doing a lot of other fresh eating tomatoes, and I want to be able to do a big batch of like ketchup. So that's the plan for these. And I think I'm going to grow a couple of plants of that to have enough. And I'm going to do the gold medal. And I'm going to do Cherokee purple again this year. I did do these last year. They're a fantastic flavor tomato. I didn't get as many as I wanted to get from them last year, but I'm going to do it again. Ace 55, the red centiflor, and I did purple cherry last year. I picked this one because of how many there are on this plant. My kids picked our cherry tomato plants clean last year, and none of them made it inside. So I figured these produce a lot of cherry tomatoes, and since I only have a small space, I'm going to have to rotate things out. So even though the purple cherries were very good, I wanted to give something else a try. Now last year we did sun golds, and that's something I am not going to pass on this year because it was a favorite, of course. So we're going to do the sun golds again this year. And I'm also going to try the Aunt Molly's ground cherry, which I am very excited about. I think my kids are going to love these. I'm most excited about tomatoes and peppers. So in early April, we have our carrots, and I didn't have a problem with carrots germinating last year. They actually germinated really well, but I got very small carrots. So if you have any tips on how to get a little bit larger carrots, that would be greatly appreciated. I am going to try this year the tender sweet, which I did try last year. And then I have the Royal Chantenay. And I also have Danver half longs that are coming from Baker's Creek in the next week. Nothing in mid-April, and then in late April, we're going to be doing all of our cucumbers and a couple of melons. So new to me this year is the honey rock cantaloupe. This says that it's really good for small garden spaces. So it's like a medium-sized melon, and my kids love cantaloupe. And last year we did the Bait Alpha cucumbers, which we really enjoyed and ate fresh. So I'm going to grow those again. I'm also going to do the Space Masters. And we're going to do the straight eights. And we're gonna try the sugar baby watermelon again. I got on 2 vines, I got 2 very small watermelons, and the inside, they weren't very good. And I think it was a watering issue. So we're gonna try that again. And I'm going to try the Italian striped zucchini this year. I did Black Beauty last year and it got diseased and didn't produce very well. So we're going to try this one. Honey nut squash I'm going to try for the first time. And also the cucamelons. When I started growing, I did just a few things and very quickly got obsessed and started buying way more seeds than I think I'm going to be able to actually grow in the space that I have. But I have everything drawn up where I'm planning on placing it. And I went out the other day and measured, and I think that I'm going to be okay on space. We have the room, but I don't want to take up too much space with the garden. In May, direct seeding, we're going to do all of our bush beans, and I plan on companion planting my bush beans this year with peppers and some other vining crops. That's another goal for the garden this year, is doing more companion planting. So basil and tomatoes, and I'm going to plant my onions in with other plants, and I'm also going to do more flowers, marigolds, nasturtiums, and things like that. So for beans, I have Royal Burgundy, I have the Blue Lake Bush, and Contender, and some yellow wax. We're going to do baby bear pumpkins, and I also have some Long Island cheese squash coming in the next week. The pumpkins didn't do well last year. They got squash vine borer and they died. So hopefully, I heard that the Long Island cheese squash, I hope I'm saying that name right, is resistant to the squash vine borer and produces really well. Very pretty and good tasting squash. So we're going to try those. And that is it for our vegetables starting from seed this year. I also have a lot of bare root strawberries coming from Burpee this spring, and I have a lot of raspberry bare roots coming as well. I also have 2 bush blueberries that are from the garden last year. And I do have some strawberries that I planted out last year that I hope come back so that we can get fruit from them this year. And very excited for the January 2025 garden. And I will be sharing my seeds starting, the seedlings progress, planting out, a couple of planting projects, garden projects throughout the year as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, please subscribe. I'm excited to be here. Hope to create a really good community here on YouTube. And thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.